Good morning. Good morning. I'm Larry Goodman, president of the CFS, and welcome. Today's a special day. Today's a special day. It marks the first meeting of the Shadow Open Market Committee at the Center for Financial Stability. Historically, the CFS's primary focus has been, well, financial stability. Whereas the Shadow Open Market Committee has been the leading Fed watchdog for over 50 years. There is much to do. Today, we're going to delve deeply into the Fed in the crosshairs, independence, systematic monetary policy, GSE reform, and financial stability. First, there are many people to thank. Members of the Shadow Open Market Committee, Jim Bullard, Charles Calamiras, Greg Hess, Peter Ireland, Andy Levin, Debbie Lucas, Athanasios Orphanides, and I would also like to express a hearty thanks to Jeff Lacker, Michael Bordeaux, and especially Mickey Levy for their unending energy to make our partnership a success. In fact, Mickey is the longest standing member of the SOMC. In many ways, he is the glue that keeps the SOMC moving forward in the right direction. I'm not going to tell you how long Mickey has been a member of the SOMC, but if you are interested, the answer is available in this wonderful book. It's published by the Hoover Institution in honor of the SOMC's 50th anniversary. The book contains important papers and pressing monetary policy, important papers on pressing monetary policy issues, as well as a wonderful piece written by Michael and Mickey on the last 50 years of the SOMC that, as you know, was founded by Alan Meltzer from Carnegie Mellon University and Carl Brunner from the University of Rochester. In addition to the book, major contributions of the SOMC and its members over the years are available on the CFS website. And these books, courtesy of the Hoover Institution, will be available for everyone here today. I'm also grateful to the Center for Financial Stability's Board of Trustees and advisory board members who were so overwhelmingly supportive of our partnership, namely our chair, Randy Quarles, Peter Flokas, Eduardo Aninat, Sheila Baer, Bill Bradley, Joyce Chang, Shafiq Gabra, Charles Goodhart, Henry Kaufman, Barbara Novick, Guillermo Ortiz, Bill Rhodes, Richard Sander, and Myron Scholes. I also want to thank our guest speakers and moderators, Robin Lumsdaine, Amit Saru, Michael Falkender, and Matt Richardson. Likewise, we are grateful to all of you for joining us, whether you are with us physically today or viewing the webcast, which will be available shortly after the conference concludes. This is our first meeting together. Hence, we are interested in engagement and feedback. Today, we're experiencing a massive global and geostrategic regime shift. Over the years, I've been privileged to analyze, invest in, or lead teams evaluating opportunities and risks in over 80 countries around the world. Many of the challenging vectors at play today, we've seen before, but never, at least in the post-World War II era, have we seen this many vectors firing simultaneously and presenting strains even in advanced economies. We can create a long list of vulnerabilities and challenges, yet to me, they break into three broad categories: conflict, technology, and of course, economics, or more specifically macro-financial. The Shadow Open Market Committee. The work of the SOMC is essential for understanding these macro-financial dynamics and promulgating future policies for economic strength and financial stability. Since its inception, the SOMC has been positioned as a constructive outside watchdog of the Fed's Federal Open Market Committee. The SOMC is driven by core beliefs that sound monetary policy is guided by, first, systematic rules whose primary objective is stable and low inflation as the best foundation for healthy economic performance. Second, transparency and accountability. Third, systematic and economically rational approaches to financial regulations. CFS was built on similar beliefs, as well as values that we both share, namely independence and nonpartisanship. To be sure, over the years, the Fed has been an agent of stability. Yet policy errors have led to meaningful economic and financial instability. For instance, in Mike and Mickey's The 50-Year History of the SOMC and the Evolution of Monetary Policy, these periods, it's in the book, 3 periods loom large. The 1970s, where inflation hit highs and growth shriveled. The early 2000s, where fears of deflation triggered by easy monetary policy triggered this housing market bubble. And the post-COVID period, where essential policy responses were too large and kept in place for too long, triggering another destabilizing wave of high inflation. Over the last 50 years, the SOMC got much right, especially in the 1970s and since 2000. Going forward, CFS believes that SOMC and its distinguished members are uniquely positioned to help the Fed think strategically in a respectful and constructive way. The Center for Financial Stability. The Center for Financial Stability was formed shortly after the global financial crisis. It was motivated by work at the U.S. Treasury between 2003 and 2006 to detect and warn about future international financial vulnerabilities. At the time, it was resoundingly clear that the next crisis would not originate in an emerging market or another advanced economy, but it would originate right here, at home, in the United States. It was tragic to watch the crisis unfold between 2007 and 2008. Now, the focus at CFS is simple. There are 2 priorities. First, analytics and data, and second, high-quality engagement with thought leaders, stretching from private sector practitioners to public officials and to academics. Over the years, we've done much on the monetary front, from Bretton Woods and the International Monetary System, which is now back in vogue, to Bitcoin and blockchain technology, to building unique analytic and data frameworks under the leadership of Professor William A. Barnett. Bill serves as the Director of Advances in Monetary and Financial Measurement at CFS, where we bring his innovative Divisia technique to life, measuring aggregate monetary service flows from asset and liabilities in the financial system. For further information, I would recommend Bill's book, Getting It Wrong, published by the MIT Press, as well as the data, analytics, and the library. We've got a whole library on the CFS Advances in Monetary and Financial Measurement webpage. Here, work over the last 14 years illustrates the importance of measuring money and the activities of financial institutions to sculpt better policies, reduce risks, and make better investment decisions. I'm not going to go into great detail, but here are two areas among many where CFS analytics and data and judgment got it right. Tyler Cowen framed the issue well in a Bloomberg opinion piece. He wrote that plenty of people like to say they knew at the time that the big money supply increases of 2008 to 2009 were not going to lead to high inflation. There are also people who like to say that they knew at the time that the combined monetary and fiscal response from the pandemic would lead to much higher rates of price inflation. But relatively few people can gloat about getting it right both times. CFS did. Active application of Bill's monetary data in real time were instrumental. Results were impressive. They are available on the CFS website, or we're happy to provide references. Yet shockingly, the post-COVID experience seems to have had only a small impact on Fed policy. In the early stages of COVID, Charles Goodhart wrote for CFS a paper called After Coronavirus, Deflation or Inflation, where he contrasted two strongly held but competing views. First, a mainstream position suggesting that inflation pressure would remain muted for the foreseeable future. Second, a contrary view, believing that expansionary monetary policy and fiscal policies would generate inflation. Importantly, Charles concluded that apart from the practical implications of finding out which of these positions is more nearly correct, it will affect macroeconomic theory and teaching, perhaps forever. Sadly, this is yet to happen. At CFS, on the engagement front, our engagement today is meaningful. One of the hallmarks of CFS meetings is that we hope that many relationships form and ideas are shared. We also hope that this discussion continues outside of the room today and into the future. With that, I offer to all of you who are with us in person and those viewing the webcast, thanks and gratitude, and I look forward to a productive and wonderful learning experience. Thank you.